The following may contain language which will be offensive to some people and inappropriate for children. Still here? Then pour your favorite beverage and let's get this fucking show started.
Fantastic Forum, assemble! You are watching Fantastic Forum, the premier show about comic books and your live weekly conversation about entertainment and geek culture. We are the Fantastic Forum, coming to you live and direct from the Hall of F. Hope you're having a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, or night, as the case may be, depending on where you are in the world. And if you're not, you should stick with us. We'll help you take it up a notch. You have the usual suspects in the building. First, he is Chinese finger cuffs. You don't know him. You love him anyway. He's our silent assassin, Jay.
Hey.
Next, he's the backbone, the pillar, the strength, the Fantastic Forum, our nigh invulnerable brawler and resident strongman, Moses Magnum.
I have questions for Oz. Why isn't he here? Like,
Shout
I
out
get
to
he has to work, but you know, to pay for all those loot boxes. But, you know,
especially the ones where they do the switcheroo.
Right. All that drama's been happening in our YouTube channel. I had questions from in the comments, like there's action going on there because he posted those videos over the weekend, and it's a two-parter, and yeah. So I don't know. He needs to address those comments, and I thought
Oz
here, but
Oz is out here working. Trying to make the world a better place for you and for me.
Trying to feed his family.
Right. What's that got to do with comics? Not a damn thing. That's what. But anyway, shout out to Oz. We are young. Welcome to Fantastic Forum. We got a full show for you today because we are going to be talking to you all about Unicorn, Eternal Warriors, Warriors Eternal. Unicorn, Warriors Eternal. Sorry, damn.
It's right here.
Unicorn. Unicorn, they fight forever. No. No, we're going to talk to you about Unicorn, Warriors Eternal. We're going to be talking to you all about COVID Cop, and we're going to talk to you about Kroma. So we got all that happening, and of course, whatever else it is that you all want to talk about, and we'll tell you how to do that at the moment. But before we do, we want to make sure that we thank Mr. Scott Rubin, because without him, this show would not be happening, would not have existed. So shout out to Scott Rubin. How you doing, good sir? And yeah, so I guess with that said, we should go ahead and do the interning.
I'm trying.
Want to get in on the action? Call Fantastic Forum on Skype and join the fun. Too shy to call in? That's okay. You can join the Discord chat room available at
fantasticforum.live.
Join the party. You know you want to.
I feel like we should do some new bumpers, but we need those J Random beats on it. I feel like that'd be nice.
Well, I was thinking we need to do the video Jay's segment in the intro. We need to redo that.
We do. Listen, he keeps fighting it, but we absolutely need to make that happen sooner than later. So
we should switch to Jay.
We should switch today.
No, so it's only Jay. Like not us, just Jay.
An all J version of the intro sounds like something we should definitely create. I agree. I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah.
Look at Jay.
That was the perfect one. Right? That's the perfect one right here. Look.
I'm a cowboy. I'm still a horse I ride. I want it. There it is.
Yeah.
We have a comment.
Okay.
Santa Claus says You guys seen the gameplay for Spider-Man 2? Looks like we get to play Spider-Man in the Venom suit and Miles Morales. And it seems that Kraven is the big bad in this one.
I'm mad that Tarkov called it the Venom suit.
Yeah.
Like Spider-Man didn't.
Everybody knows it's a symbiote.
Emphasis on the bye. Like bye, yo. It's okay, Tarkov, though. I understand. That's cool. Like Spider-Man in the black costume is a good thing. Like,
Is it?
I why not?
Well, because it's a living thing, and in that game, I don't think. Well, at least the first one doesn't seem very conducive for a living costume. Like it's just a reskin, Then you have the little augments depending on the costume, if it's more of a
Right.
technical suit. And I hate that because that just takes away what Spider-Man really is. So it's like,
Which is what?
He's a scientist. He's smart. He uses augmented suits, but at the end of the day, he never relies on them. In this game, you got to rely on these suits.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you never played it.
You don't have to.
Yeah, like I mean, honestly, I haven't played through the first Spider-Man, or I should say, through that Spider-Man game all the way through. I'm probably maybe a quarter of the way through it, and it's awesome. I should be playing it, but as you very well may have heard me say before, like there's a whole list of amazing games that I should be playing. Like literally, like yeah. It's if I tell you all the games I have that I haven't gotten like even anywhere close to halfway through, if I give you this list, you'll just pretend like you like video games.
See, Jay, I don't know what's wrong with your friend Larry. Like he reconciles that problem he has by not playing any games.
No, I mean, I play games still. It's just that, like I go through my games slow. I've like Jay can tell you, because Jay literally, as long as I've been playing video games, like literally, the first video games I probably played were probably at Jay's house, because I'm pretty sure Jay had a system before I had a system, right?
Well, you have that one. You have the one. What is it, Kalik? The one Asteroids.
Right.
Vision.
Yeah, I did have
that first.
Yeah.
And then I got the 2600.
Yeah. But the fact is, I've always played games slow. And, it's gotten worse in my old age. Not because, I don't know, I just take my time. And so, like, I like right now, like I play Splatoon literally every day. I don't play a lot of Splatoon every day, but I play at least a couple rounds every day.
That's God of War you could be through.
That's what?
That's Cyberpunk you could be going through.
No, see, now you can't. The amount of time, like, understand, 2 rounds of Splatoon is 10 minutes. You can't do anything worthwhile in Cyberpunk in 10 minutes. Like you can't even get through menus, and that's why Cyberpunk is on the list. And like literally, I have it. I got it when it came out. Like all I did is update it. That's it. Like because I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna play it soon. Didn't happen.
And that's like 30.
But what I am playing right now.
Jay, you said you don't have.
What?
No, because Jay was. I thought you were done, Larry. So I wanted to. He would because you mentioned that you don't have to rely on the power ups for Spider-Man. But
yeah, there's like a couple suits that don't have powers.
I thought they're all like passive abilities, aren't they?
Not the one where you're naked. There's no passive
I don't know what
ability.
you said there. You cut off.
Oh. I don't know. Like Wait, which one are you naked? Is that the one with the paper bag?
I don't remember. It's been too long.
Hold on.
You still can't hear me, Mo? Oh, Mo had to go adjust his joint. Wait, so like I understand where Mo's coming from, where it's like it would be cool to have a comic accurate symbiote suit. You know, like if it was like talking to you and trying to corrupt you and all that jazz. But huh?
It might.
Yeah, but that would have to be like a story element. Like literally, like what we're talking about here is just like cosmetic stuff, right?
We'll see.
Yeah.
They could make it like the mask in Splatterhouse, where when you wear it, it talks to you.
Dang, I remember that. That was freaky back then to me. Like, I'm sure that I probably wouldn't think too much of it these days because things are so far beyond the pale, especially when you're talking about like horror video games, like Splatterhouse. But House was creepy. I was gonna say, I'm actually
the Kingdom for you.
Say that one more time.
No Tears of the Kingdom for you.
No, listen, I haven't beat Breath of the Wild. Like, why would I buy Tears of the Kingdom when I got a perfectly good Zelda game? I should like it would be different if I was like maybe almost
on your sword now.
Say what?
You can stick rocks on your sword now.
This is true, but you know, I'll say it like this, Jay. Though you can't like be like, oh, like sticking rocks on your sword is like the least of what you can do, which I know you know. Like
I just started, so.
Oh, you're playing it?
Yeah.
Oh,
It's a kick-ass Zelda game.
Well, you don't have to tell me. I know. I just, you know, I didn't know that you knew. I didn't know somebody told you. No. Did you finish?
I've been playing Tears of the Kingdom and Advance Wars.
Ooh, those are both great games. Did you play Breath of the Wild at all or no?
Yeah, I got to the end and then I didn't beat it because I was just kind of done with it.
Oh, see, and now here's the thing. If I had done that, I would probably be playing Tears of the Kingdom right now. Even though what exactly happened at the end there for you that you were just like, I don't need to beat it?
I don't know. It just sometimes it just happens where, especially like in open world games, I tend to get the most enjoyment out of like open world and Metroidvania games. I get the most enjoyment out of exploring, and so like you throw a hard fight in front of me, and I'm like, like maybe I'll get to it, maybe I won't. Right? That's the whole thing with the Hollow Knight. It's like I love the exploration, but I'm not doing all that. Like some of the fights, you can't even touch the ground. It's like, nah, that's not me. All right, taking Tugboat. It's going good.
Hey, I agree. Moses, can you hear us okay now? Uh-oh. Mo? Jay, say something to Mo.
Yeah.
Mo, the Switch is too small. I can't fit Tears of the Kingdom, Advance Wars, and Splatoon 3 on it at the same time.
Oh man,
like it cutting out big. I gotta restart, man. I don't know.
Yeah, sorry, friend. I think that's you, Mo. Oh, I feel bad.
It is me.
Yeah. I got no
getting edited.
Splatoon 3.
You got no room, you said?
Yeah, because Tears of the Kingdom and Advance Wars takes up all the space.
On your Switch?
Yeah.
Oh, you got to get an SD card.
I'll get around to it.
I mean, it's kind of mandatory for Switches, like especially like you don't even have like an OLED, right?
No.
Yeah, like the original, not original, but you know, like the non-OLED Switch, its memory's so small that yeah, like I mean, Tears of the Kingdom's a beast. So yeah,
But it's
Jeez,
fun
man.
so far.
Yeah.
Like I literally just started. Like I got, the second power is the joining stuff together, and then you gotta make the hot food so you can go to the ice level and get that. So like literally still in prologue.
Got it. Well, yeah, man. Like enjoy. Like I know for myself. Oh wait, what's taking Tugboat saying?
He says, I love open world games because you will spend 15 minutes to open one chest with like 5 arrows in it. Totally worth it. Hits that dopamine. And yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
It's
he's
true.
absolutely right. Like, I love that.
Yeah.
Actually, there's a chest right now where I'm like, it's on a pedestal. And I was like, I did spend like 10 minutes trying to get it, and I could not climb up there. And I was like,
you need more stamina?
No, there's no way to approach it, like, because there's a ledge. So it's like, it's not just climbing up. Like, it's on a platform, on a pillar. So you can't just climb up the pillar because the platforms.
Okay.
If that makes any sense.
So you have to approach it from the top, probably?
Yeah. And there's nothing near there. And I don't have a hang glider yet.
You don't have the power just to jump up through the bottom of stuff yet?
No.
Okay.
You get that power?
Yeah. I mean, it's been in the stuff. I'm sorry. I don't mean to spoil stuff for you. Like,
No, it's good.
It was in the trailers, so I thought you might have seen it.
I didn't watch the trailers because.
Well, listen, I'm gonna shut up about it.
Play the game when I get it.
No, leave it be.
I'm not like I'm cool with trailers. I just normally I don't go out on my way to see them, and especially like the teaser announced trailer, which was just him jumping off the ledge, and I'm like, I mean,
you didn't need
that's
that.
what you want me to know. Okay.
Yeah, man. Well, listen, it looks like an amazing game. I've seen some things already where I'm just like, dude, like that's gonna be phenomenal when I get around to playing it. But I honestly like I'm not even like I feel like I'm maybe a quarter of the way through Breath of the Wild. Like I didn't even meet all the legendary heroes.
Oh, okay.
Like there are like kingdoms that I'm just like I just haven't been to. So I'm just like I couldn't be like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and buy this new Zelda. Like, why? Why don't you play what you have? And the reason why I'm not playing it right now is because I'm playing Midnight Suns and I'm enjoying the hell out of that. Oh,
okay.
So fun. But that's how I understand what Mo was saying too, kind of like because you can get the symbiote suit for Spider-Man in that game as well, and I didn't unlock it. I'm just like, I don't need Spider-Man in that black suit. I just need him in as comic book accurate classic Spider-Man suit I can get him into. That's what I want, which I think I have now.
Oh, okay.
It's like comic book red and blue, not like movie red and blue.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Moses.
See how this shit works now, motherfuckers.
All right, there he goes. There's our Moses. What's he taking Tugboat saying?
Honestly, the size of Tears of the Kingdom is both too huge and get you excited to explore. F them Korok seeds. I hate that I have to get them again. I will admit, I did come across one of those guys, and I was like, fuck. Like, oh, fuck. Not again.
I mean, you don't have to find them all.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, but that's how you increase your inventory, right?
He said, yeah, you do.
Like, they give you like 2 spots to hold weapons, and it's like, I need more than
that, you gotta carry all these materials now, so you can make these awesome like 7-point fucking propulsion jet like engine thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like I saw this dude, he did a 7-point like rocket. He went all the way to the stratosphere of Hyrule.
Listen, I've been seeing all types of stuff.
Yeah, so it's like of course you need those fucking seeds, man.
But you don't have to. Like I don't think you have to store all that stuff to make it. I don't think you could just move it. I thought, but I might be wrong.
I don't know.
Too funny.
I don't want to fuck around and find out.
I saw a dude make a skateboard. I was like, wow.
I did that.
I
did that in the first game with the shield.
No, that's
nice.
That's not a skateboard. That was like a surfboard. Yeah. But
Taken says the inventory is way too small when you start off. You definitely need the seeds, and it's tedious. And I will say, out of all the, they basically at the beginning of the game, they basically have to break you back down to the beginning. Like, so they take away all your heart containers and everything in the Master Sword. It was like, they don't show them taking away your inventory. So I feel like we should expect that.
Nah. Take all your stuff. Old punk ass Link. Break you down. Yeah. So
I do like how they do it, though. That's pretty cool. Or I thought it was.
I believe it.
I just want to make that big ass rocket.
I saw a person make they called it a Gundam. It wasn't quite a Gundam, but it was definitely some sort of power suit, and it was tall.
Oh,
and
nice.
they were lighting things up, and I was like, wow, like cats are out here with time. They're like, because like it wasn't enough. Like it would have been more than enough to make something that like looks like a robot and could shoot things, and you just like stand on it up high. But this joint was like walking and everything, and I was just like, wow, like this fool made a mech. He made a mech.
I saw this dude. He made like a B-52 bomber, and he like it's literally like it's like the little boomerang wing looking thing, and it's like and it has the barrels of the gunpowder on it, and he just lights one of them up, and then just flies it into the fucking the Gorks like village shit, like kills them all, like literally, and it plays the music like the was it Twilight of the Gods, the Wagner, like dun, 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 dun. Basically suicide bombs him, and then he jumps out, he's on fire, like doing flips on fire, but he killed them all.
That's awesome.
That's funny.
Yeah, I'm gonna go buy that game tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm gonna get it, like,
but you're not even gonna play it
now. 2.5 years from now.
Yeah, you're still not gonna play it.
I might
just do what I do and just play a game for an hour and say, all right, I played it good, and then just move on to something else.
Yeah, see, I want to at least put some significant amount of time in it if I'm gonna start playing it. Like
Game
why
Pass
not?
Game Pass is losing money on me because I play everything and I play it for like 15 minutes every
Shoot.
week.
Yeah, there's some
They
games
just
I
said
want to
it
play on
sold
there
2
too.
million copies in 3 days.
That's crazy.
Man.
At like $70 a pop.
Yeah,
Man.
That's crazy. Good
so that
for
means we
them.
can shoplift it and it's not hurting nobody, right?
Listen, it's gonna hurt you.
Nah,
Look, that joint probably got a tracker. Probably like that. Probably got GPS to the house. Like they don't even. They let you walk out with it. They're like, "Oh, we'll get them later."
I'm gonna get it from Redbox with like a prepaid credit card and just never to return it.
Tiger Claw wants to know what's the last game you finished to completion, Mayor?
Hide the salami.
It's a good question. What's the last game I finished to completion? Like
Mega Man 2, right?
You're dumb. You need to stop it with this. It wasn't. No, it's not that long ago. I mean, like I'm just trying to think of like because I've finished some games relatively recently, but they're not new games because again, like I'm playing.
The list.
Yeah, right. Like I finished. I know like Guacamelee. I finished relatively recently.
That's old as fuck too, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like because again, I'm going through like, and don't get me wrong, I'm not going through a list in chronological order, mind you, but I'm just like, I'm like, okay, well, so I know I finished Guacamelee like in the last like say 6 months, but I feel like there's a game that I finished since then as well. I'm just trying to figure out
You did
what it is.
Oberdin, right?
Huh?
You did the Oberdin game?
No, what's Oberdin?
I thought you did that.
Yeah, Larry knows what it is. It's with the Memento Mori mechanic.
Oh, Oberdin. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. No, I did finish. Yeah, Return of the Oberdin. Absolutely. Like I love that game. Like
I
it's
still
like
haven't started it yet.
I love Oberdin so much that like I recently went looking just to be like, they gonna make a sequel? Like no. Oh. And then I was like, what are there any games like it? And everybody is like, it's a common question apparently for people that have played Return of the Oberdin. And they're like, I want to play something else like this. And apparently there's no games like Return to the Oberdin. Like people put stuff out there and everybody's like, yeah, that's like, I get why you say that, but it's not like Oberdin. And it's true. Like I played a demo of a game on Steam recently called what is that called? The Case of the Something Totem. I can't remember what the totem, but it's like the case. Oh, I mean, I think it's Case of the Golden Totem. I think is what it's called, and that's a really cool game. It's kind of like a deductive reasoning esque kind of game, which is why I think people were like, oh yeah, that's like almost like Oberdin, and because that's what Oberdin is in a lot of ways, is a deductive reasoning kind of game, but the way and that game, the totem joint, the golden totem joint, has like a narrative that goes through it to a degree as well, but not like Oberdin does. Oberdin is just like, man, it's like it's kind of a masterpiece, dude. Like such a good game. Yeah.
Minor correction. Idle.
Say again.
Just a minor correction. It's Idle, not Totem.
Oh, there it is. Case of the Golden Idol. Sorry. Thank you for that, Jay. Appreciate it. Yeah. So
I still haven't cracked a copy of Return to Oberdin.
Dude,
it's still in this class.
You'll like it, Mo. Like it is like the kind of thing where, and don't get me wrong, it'll be tough, but it's worth it.
Yeah, I know. But I just gotta find the time.
Yeah. And so, and
I'm replaying.
I mean, were you replaying what?
Battle Chasers.
Ooh, nice. Yeah.
That game frustrates me.
Say what?
So that game frustrates me.
Why?
Because it feels like a waste to not be able to play all 6 characters at the same time.
Yeah.
How many can you play at once? 3?
3.
Mm.
And it's but you know, in its defense, I don't think the comic they even met all of them met each other. But so because it took so long for the comic to come out. So but in the game they already know each other, so it's weird, but that's my biggest gripe. But I think that's just a stylistic thing too. Like there's no real like technology like holding them back from doing it, you know?
Oh no, it's just definitely a game choice. Like, it's funny because I actually had that same thought relatively recently because, like I mentioned to Jay earlier, I'm playing Marvel's Midnight Suns, and there's a point in the game where I'm like, oh, this is like a all hands on deck situation. Like, it was weird to me that it's like not everybody is going to like there's a point in the game where Avengers Tower gets attacked, and I'm like, all the big guns should go to that. You know what I'm saying? Like, and even if I don't get to play as everybody should be there. You know, but it was just me and Iron Man and Captain America was already there. And so, you know, which was awesome. Dude, Captain America's so good. like the characterization, I mean. Like, there's a point, like, you know, you get to create your own character, and the hunter comes down and is like fighting, and then Captain America does like, you know, his friggin' shield bounce thing and catches the shield, and he goes, "Hi, I'm Steve." I'm just like, I love this fool already. He's like, "Hi, I'm Steve." Oh man, and I was like, dude, it's good. Like, yeah, the characterization is spot on for Cap. I love it.
Like, you could have been playing God of War there,
dude. It's on my list. Trust me. But that's the thing where what I'm feeling like right now is playing.
You've been working your way out of the Citadel from Mass Effect 1.
I beat Mass Effect 1 already. Look, that was a whole different time, man. It's like, man, I played so many games in that era. Oh. damn priorities. Look, that is true though. You're right. It was different then, right? Like, I guess technically it was more so like I was kind of getting paid to make sure I was playing those games. Damn, I need to do that again. Anyway, all right.
Tell Scott to get out that ice cream game, man. That is
man. Like, there's no money in this whole ice cream thing. You know, right? Who likes ice cream? Nobody.
Yeah, the market is flooded. Like, does he have 31?
Does he have 31 flavors? I love it.
Does he have 32?
Oh, geez.
That's the question.
That's the question. Look,
yeah,
I expanded this ice cream market. Oh, dude. Okay, I guess we should start reviewing some stuff.
Yeah.
Huh?
Now that my technology is working.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, we need the TV theme because we're going to talk about some Unicorn Warriors Eternal. Unicorn, they keep on fighting.
Also,
no, more about gel coat.
When the fourth round,
Don't you call it?
does it look good already?
Jumbo Scampi for limited.
Unicorn, can't stop, won't stop. Let's do it. All right, Jay, you brought Unicorn to the table. Unicorn Warriors Eternal. One of your many Unicorn titles that you want us to review. You know? Why don't you talk to us about Unicorn Warriors Eternal?
So Unicorn Warriors Eternal is about a group of heroes fighting back in evil, and they're basically, every time they're needed, their souls are implanted into another, and they become that person. And this time there's it just doesn't go right. And so the people that are chosen aren't um, aren't actually equipped to like become these heroes, and they end up not really working full tilt. Melinda's kind of got a split personality going. The one kid is too young to be able to handle the power to see everything.
Yeah.
And the elf is doing okay, but even he says like his mind is a little cloudy.
Mm-hmm.
And so they basically are fighting this evil despite not being the heroes for the job.
Yeah, that pretty much sums it up.
I didn't mention that this is the latest Jendy Tartakovsky project. He directed, does storyboards and writing for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the art style is a little bit different than what. Well, I know it's a little bit different than maybe what I. Huh?
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm not a fan.
Oh no, you don't like the art style?
I'm not really feeling it. Like, I don't know, something about it just it's off to me. So I'm not really digging it. Like, it's not bad enough for me to not watch the show, but I do wish that it were different.
What were you gonna say, Mo?
I love it. Like, it's very neoclassic because it's like it's like Tex Avery style, and it's the weird proportions and certain characters that like are just background characters, but they just got this big bulbous nose, and I like seeing characters with big noses. It makes me feel represented. But yeah, so but either way, like I like it. Like they pick, certain characters have these weird features, and then some of them are more plain and sleek. Mainly the main character. But it's like kind of this weird, exaggerated anatomy that it works for when like when the crowd sees the monster and it's like they're in fear and they look all weird and making the fear experience. Like I like that, and then the rest of the time the characters are more sleek.
Mm-hmm. What were you gonna say, Jay?
I definitely would have preferred something a little closer to like the Symbiotic Titan art style, which I think can work in a steampunk aesthetic.
100%.
Yeah. Or
it's
even
interesting, but
even like the primal style, like would work here. That's kind of similar to that too, though.
I was just gonna say it was a little strange, just because I felt like the art style, like in the very beginning, kind of felt along the lines of what we're used to seeing. And don't get me wrong, it was still different, but I was just like, okay, and it's like I noticed from the very beginning that the art style is modified. But then there's a point after you get past like that kind of initial, when you get past seeing like the initial heroes, like I guess in their original configuration, and then it's like all of a sudden it almost feels like the art style like switches. And I was like, huh, this is interesting, And I'm not like I personally I'm not mad at it. Like I can't say I dislike it. I think it's just more so that I know it's just not what I was used to, and when you hear like Gendy's name, I know I associate that with a particular style of animation. And so it was just more so the idea like, oh, this is not that style anymore. And it is like very much more classic kind of animation. Like, like, yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head when you said Tex Avery Mo, because it's just like,
Dude,
yeah,
just straight up looks like Betty Boop.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. And there's moments in the animation where like it does like some old like Looney Tune-esque type of like movements, and like like especially like the little new cosmic monk is like, this guy is basically like a Looney Tunes character floating through the air all the time, like the way.
Well, as soon as he got activated, like his whole anatomy changed, and I loved it. And he's a young kid too, so it actually I literally had like a flashback from when I first smoked weed ever at 11 years old. Like that's literally what happened to me. Like I just started seeing all timelines at once, and it's like it was a trip. Yeah. But that's literally how I felt. Like the way he smiled, and he just has that goofy smile on it. Like, that reminds me of the first time I ever smoked some pot. Little boy of 11 years old.
There it is. Mo, how'd you feel about the story?
I love the story. Like I only watched 2 episodes, but I loved it. Like, part of it is the premise I enjoy. That's the Eternals in a sense, and like the execution of it. The weirdest part was the like steampunk Copernicus. That was like the odd. It's like, this from the future. What future? But it's like it's still like the Dark Ages to me. But Merlin brought him, of course, but it's like that's okay. Once I saw, I didn't realize it was Gendy till at the end. So I just watched.
Really?
Yeah, I knew, because I know Jay told me it was the people that did Bird Boy. But I guess that's the animation studio or the production company.
No, that's Unicorn Wars. Was the guy that did Bird Boy.
Okay, and so I did the Larry thing where I messed them up. I want to watch Unicorn Wars 2 now. Okay, so when I watched this, I thought it was like, okay, this is the people that did Bird Boy. I can kind of see it. Yeah, I don't know, but yeah, I guess it's not. But once I saw it was Gendy, I'm like, okay, that's kind of like his visual humor in a sense. Like it's that weird, like aside from it being like a Tex Avery influence art, that robot is like the weird thing to look at, but because it's gonna do a lot of crazy shit. It's like the dinosaur in Primal, so it needs to take up space in the frame. It needs to like be crazy when it moves, and like the hat, like when he other fat guy with a top hat, and it's a hat under the top hat. Like, I loved it.
The brim literally went in and it came out and then went back in. I was just like, that's so crazy.
Yeah, and, especially with animation, sometimes you got to focus on certain things to flow better than others. In this cartoon, you don't have that. Like I see it with a lot of the DC animated stuff, where some of the action, even like Attack on Titan. Like sometimes certain scenes look a little choppy because the action scenes aren't where they put all the energy, and here it's like sometimes it's humor, sometimes it's action, and the other parts don't feel like they have a detriment because of that. And so that art style and everything works. The story, I love the premise, and I love the execution. So this actually feels a little more like what the Eternals should have been, and and that's but the sad fact of the matter is that like Hancock feels more like what Eternal should have been, and so everything Eternal feels like what the Eternal should have been, and it just makes me sad and angry. It's like I haven't snapped because it's a Guardians season, and fuck do I give a fuck about Guardians? Like I don't want to do this movie. I don't want to do this. Until I saw the High Evolutionary card, I'm like, fuck. now I need to get some tokens. So I gotta fucking kick some ass and get some fucking tokens because I want my Cyclops to be useful finally.
Oh man, how dare you!
I do have as Guardians of the Galaxy deck. So like I made a deck that is, but I don't use it out of spite because of the movie.
They had a challenge recently where you had to win 10 times with starting with Star-Lord in your deck or with Star-Lord starting in your deck. And so because of that, I actually did have like a Guardians deck because, I'm like, well, if Star-Lord's going to be in here, I got to try to make it useful, right? Like,
Yeah.
or at least that was my thought. But realistically, it's funny because our buddy Raymond, he literally just took out like Nightcrawler and then put Star-Lord in in one of his decks, and he was just like, "Oh yeah, it worked fine," And I was like, "Damn, I probably should have done that."
One of my move decks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, not to get sidetracked, but yeah, I really enjoyed this, and I can't wait to watch more. And then now I can't wait to watch Unicorn Wars. So,
like that's the second part of Jay's Unicorn review trilogy. No. But yeah, I will say that just to kind of piggyback off of what you were just saying, Mo. I think you're absolutely correct in regards to like the premise of this show is really interesting, and then more importantly, the execution is really great. Like it's just interesting, and the show itself doesn't necessarily go in the places that you expect it to go, and so which is how rare is that in this day and age? You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like I mean, especially like if you read or watch a lot of pop culture stuff, it's like there's only so many stories that are getting told, and I'm not knocking it. So like execution becomes a big part of things, but when you have somebody like come up with a premise that's like, oh wow, that's a little like I don't know if I want to say it's novel, but it's interesting, and then they start executing it in a way where you don't necessarily know which way it's going to go. I'm like, oh wow, like yeah, like.
It's the execution at this point is everything because every story's been told,
Right.
So like I was telling Emily just the other day how we were watching a documentary and it's the movies that made us on Netflix, and they talk about Halloween, and then they talk about Friday the 13th, how Friday the 13th was just like a knockoff of Halloween, but I didn't see it that way when I watched it as a kid. Like it's its own thing, and now when you actually analyze it, it's like but it just does its own thing. The execution is the key,
Right. No, I agree. I feel like all of the main characters, which I think of like the cast of the four warriors or the three warriors and Copernicus, their like robot aide. their far future robot aide, right? It's like they all have like very unique attributes to them. And and again, it's like one of these things where I felt like when I was watching initially, I'm like, oh, okay, like we got some archetypes here, and like I get it, like like this is like some stuff, like I know what I'm going to get from these characters, but then they flip that or they turn that on its head because like when you start getting the reincarnation of these characters and it doesn't go the way that it's supposed to, it's like, oh, actually these people are acting different than I would have expected them to, but at the same time they're acting in some of the same ways that they would as well, and so it's like it's kind of playing against type, which is pretty awesome. The only thing
the kid gets confused between like what's in front of him and what's in like the astral plane,
right?
Like, there'll be times where he's trying to walk and he's like, why can't I go forward? And he's like walking into a wall, but he can't see it.
Yeah. That's good stuff. It's real good stuff.
And I love the Cosmic Turtle.
It's so funny because when you all put that in group chat, I was like, what are these fools talking about? But I'm like, I'll figure it. I'm like, I'll know. Like, I'm sure that it's in one of these shows. I'm sure. But the only thing that I can say that I really was like, I don't know if I want to say I disliked, but what I will say is I was a little disappointed by it. Maybe that's the better way to say it. Or slight, and when I say this, I mean slightly in the slightest way disappointed. They give you a montage in the beginning of these heroes being reincarnated into different people. And what's interesting about it is like, you get iterations of these heroes, and in some, they're coming up in different like historical time periods, different types of people. And so despite the heroes, each person looks different. But despite each person looking different, they still have common characteristics in each incarnation that kind of like, so you can tell like, oh, that's this hero, that's that hero. You know what I'm saying? Like, like they manifest in a particular way. And I found like that was really interesting because it's like, for instance, you have like Melinda at a certain point manifests into a female soldier. And which is almost like a Joan of Arc-ish kind of archetype or whatnot. Or I don't know if that was the French woman that she was talking about. But anyway, like it's a say again, Jay?
No, it's coughing.
Oh, no worries. But yeah, think Joan of Arc, so a woman in armor. And so Melinda has like the look of like this kind of like dark energy kind of witch thing going on. Yeah. And when she manifests inside of this woman, she manifests that dark energy witch kind of deal, but in armor, which is awesome because it's just like a cool look and it's different, like there's other attributes that she kind of, that are through lines for the character. But when she does it with the character, which I think is it Anna? Is that the character's name in this?
I believe.
Or Emma?
Emma, yeah.
Emma.
Okay. Emma. So when she manifests in Emma, it happens on Emma's wedding day. So she's in a wedding dress.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh wow, like that's kind of cool, And that happens with Melinda. It happens with I think the dude's name is Zhen, the cosmic monk dude. Is that it? Zhen?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
But I was disappointed, like I said, ever so slightly, when the elf guy manifests in the modern times, because I feel like that fool just turned into the character that we saw in the beginning. I was just like, I'm like, why does this fool look exactly like he did? And and I get that might be a choice they made just because he's the one that manifested, I guess, most closely to how he was supposed to.
He had the least understand,
right?
Trouble, yeah,
right. And so I understand that from like that might just be like an artistic decision they made because they want to show like, okay, like he manifested, but we've seen the manifestations throughout history, and each time they look a little different, including his. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like the last one they showed us before they went to this time was like literally like the dude looked like he maybe got manifested into like the sheriff of like old West town.
Yeah.
And so this fool had like the handlebar mustache and a cowboy hat. I was like, dude, like that is so cool. Like how they do this. And so I was looking very much forward to, what this guy's going to look like next. And as soon as I saw the character come on screen before the manifestation, I'm like, man, it's good. I'm like, it's going to be that guy. I hope it's not that guy. And it was that guy. And then on top of that, I was like, oh man, this was all super milk toast. Like this will just turn back into himself. Like, like Jesus, like, it's like, like I felt like they kind of would do the thing where like, even like the the hair would kind of change a little bit or whatever. But yeah, man, it's like it was just this. He turned into the elf, and I'm like, oh well, yeah. So who knows? Maybe something will happen with him later. We'll see. Jay, do you happen to know how long, like how many episodes this run is going to be?
I do not. Nah.
Because these days, I'm like, we're lucky if we get 8 episodes, right? We're like, okay,
right.
Count your lucky stars.
But honestly, if they give me a good 8 episodes and maybe 2-3 seasons, I'm happy. Like, I don't need shit to go on forever. Like, I don't have time for shit to go on forever. So, I'm good. Like, if you give me, a good 8 episodes, I'm fucking pissed at Star Trek Prodigy. Fucking.
Why?
Because I thought I had the finale on like episode 13, and I keep thinking like I thought that at episode 8, I thought that at episode 12. They're on episode 18. I'm like 6 episodes behind, and it takes these weird breaks.
I will say the way each episode leads into the next, I'm pretty sure it makes me feel like there is a plan. Like they are going to get it done in this season, be it 10 episodes or however many. Like I think 10 is like the standard order number right now.
Yeah.
So it probably will be 10 episodes. But the thing I love about this format is that if they wanted to go further, you could actually just switch your cast. Like, you can take it into the future.
Yeah.
Right now they're in like 1890. Yeah. So they've got time to they can, it's easy to reuse. Like it's built to be reused.
Like they can literally cancel it and then bring it back and still do 2 different stories that still are tight.
Right.
Yeah. Each season could easily each season could easily be self-contained, which would be awesome. Like if they just told a narrative each season.
Yeah.
So,
Larry, did you watch it on HBO Max?
I did not. I actually watched it on demand. Why? What happens on HBO Max?
How about you?
I watched it on Amazon.
Okay.
And I bought it, so it's not the HBO Max version.
Okay.
Which is weird because I know on my thing, the HBO Max and the non-HBO Max have different ratings. And I thought that was
higher.
The HBO Max one is the lower one.
So like PG-13 or PG?
It was like TV PG. And the one I have is TVMA.
Oh, that's weird. Because I thought I heard a curse word on the HBO Max one, but that could be just me filling it in the blank. In HBO Max, I the reason I only watched the first 2 episodes is because I tried all week to watch it, and it took I just kept getting the loading wheel for like fucking 35 minutes. It wouldn't load it. And I had that problem with HBO Max with a lot of shit, and it's cool shit that I want to see. I'm like, let me test it, and I put those twin brothers that real estate and fuck each other, those fucking cocksuckers. It played in 3 seconds. It loaded up in 3 seconds. That fucking reality show shit. Like I don't pay $14.99 a month to watch fucking reality show. I don't want that shit on my fucking app. I want the Gendy shit. I want that to load up real quick. Like I want my cool HBO shit to be available to me, and that's the shit that like the app will crash when I'm trying to watch fucking Perry Mason. But when I'm trying, I'm like, oh, let me test it with this fucking Fuckboy Island shit. It loads up all quick. I'm like, what the fuck?
Probably because they're in the transition period from HBO Max to just Max.
Well, in that transition period, discount me my fucking $14.99 if that if that's your excuse. Because really, fuck that. I want to watch my Gendy shit. You know,
I don't
I
know,
want to
man.
watch my cool shit on HBO Max. And I know it's adult,
Look.
you know, but it's that's what I pay for HBO Max or just Max now. Like I just pay for that, but I don't want to. I don't want those fucking incestuous twins on my shit. Like I don't want them promoting that to me at all. I don't honestly. I don't want them promoting me any reality TV at all. I don't want HBO. The only reality show I ever liked on HBO Max was like Taxi Cab Confessions and like fucking Real Sex, and that's just to beat off. Like it's not. I'm not watching for the for what happens to the cast. Their journey, you know. But I am watching the Gendy shit for the journey, and I want that shit to load it faster than those shitty ass twins that do real estate. So if you follow up, if you like, subscribe, hit the bell. This whole rant will be in the shorts version tomorrow. I already recorded.
when Moses goes to ask for his $15 back, they're gonna be like, "Well, we'll give it to you, but it seems that you watched every episode of Fuckboy Island all this past month." So
no, I really don't. But you know,
you're not even convincing us. You're definitely not gonna convince them. No.
The only reason I keep mentioning Fuckboy Island is because I'm a Nikki Glazer fan. So it's like I'm happy that she's getting work. I'm happy she's getting, but I just wish she was doing better work. Like, give me a Curb Your Enthusiasm with Nikki Glazer. You know what I mean?
Let's be honest.
Netflix gave her a movie that's amazing. Like it's her being a comedian and fucking this weirdo. Like it's tight.
What movie's that?
I forget what it's called, but it's her fucking a weirdo, and it's like this dude literally is fucked up, and it's like based on her true story. It's like HBO Max couldn't do that. Like they gave her a deal for a shitty reality show. They can't let her make a fucking movie.
I'm just saying, man. Like if somebody was like, "Fuckboy Island, who's hosting that?" and you say Nikki Glazer, you go, "Oh yeah."
Yeah, I'm not saying it's not a good fit. I'm not saying hey, I don't want that shit marketed to me.
Yeah, I hear that.
You know, because I don't like reality TV. Like just Ink Master, and that's it. And maybe RuPaul's Drag Race.
There it is.
But I got Paramount Plus for that.
Okay, so, it's time. We should rate.
I did want to mention there was one scene. There was a couple, like two scenes I did want to talk about because I enjoyed them.
Oh, go for it.
There's one scene where the heroes are being attacked by terracotta warriors. Did you guys see that? Yeah.
I did.
Yeah. And so it's just really funny. Like, the statues are nude. And in order to protect Melinda's honor, the elf goes and cuts off all the dicks off the soldiers. It's really funny, and they don't show it, so you just see the sword moving.
Yeah,
and it's easy to figure out what's going on, but you don't really get the whole thing until they show the full body later, and there's just a crack where the dick would be. It's really funny.
Yeah, it is funny.
And there was another scene where the evil has her robots and they're attacking a ship. And it was interesting. Like the first guy definitely got killed. But at the same, like me, like looking at it, I'm still in my Cartoon Network kind of vibe. Like, oh, they didn't really kill that guy, did they? Only for like the whole ship to come back as zombies later. Like, oh, they killed everybody. Like, nice. So that was cool.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so funny because that scene, it made me think about Obra Dinn. And I was like, oh, it's like Return of the Obra Dinn. But anyway.
Yeah, we can rate.
Yeah. All right. Moses, let's start with you, bud. What would you rate Unicorn Warriors Eternal?
It's a 5. Like I love the animation. I like the throwback style, but it's still now that I know it's Gendy, like it's Gendy, So so it's still like it's homage and stylized and it's fluid. Like the frame rate's good. If I were to rate the app, it's like a 2 because I literally put it in my stuff and then I couldn't find my stuff until they updated it today. I'm trying to watch it today, and they're like, "Oh, you got to get the new app. We're just max." So I'm like, "All right, let me, yeah." And luckily, the transition was easy. Like all my stuff is there, and everything I've watched is there. So I don't know how they collected all my data, but yeah, but yeah, it's there. And then, but the show itself, like, yeah, it's definitely like. I love it. I can't wait to keep watching it on the treadmill, and
there you go.
Stop watching Chainsaw Man because I only do 20 minutes on the treadmill, so it's like Chainsaw Man is like those credits are like 8 minutes, so like I'm not trying to do no 30 minutes. But yeah,
Jay, what would you rate Unicorn Warriors Eternal?
I would give it a 4.5. I like the characters, the story, the action is pretty good. In particular, there's a fight scene with the what's the kid's name? I forget. Like, I don't know, Petey or something. And he's fighting his old mates after he gets turned into the warrior, and it's just really good. Like, yeah, it's just really good. And he's a soccer player, and they kind of use that, but he's also floating in 3 dimensions. So he's like doing that and soccer to fight. Like, it's just great.
I just love when he tells them, like, when he tells them initially, like, you guys are angry because you guys are left here, but all you need is a love for each other, and you have each other. You just take solace in that and move forward. And like, fuck that, and they start fighting.
right. I ain't trying to hear that. Tell us all we need is each other's love. Get out of here. After this guy. Right.
It just loses half a point with me because like I said, I'm not a fan of the art style. But everything else I love.
Yeah.
I'm like warriors that were supposed to get the powers. Like, that's awesome.
That was awesome. Yeah. It's crazy. I think 4.5 is what I would give it as well. Pardon me. Look, thank you. Like, honestly, I think even though I feel different than Jay does about it, I think I give it 4.5 for the same reason. Whereas, like, it's like Jay might be like, I guess, like, say, left of center in regards to like not liking the art style, and I think I'm right of center where it's like, I don't mind the art style, but at the same time, I definitely would have preferred a more traditional, Gendy style. Yeah, a more traditional Gendy style. Like, and on top of that, like, not only would I have preferred it, but I think it actually, from a tonal perspective, might have fit the story better. And so it's like one of those things where it's like, man, like, I would have liked to see what that would have looked like, and it's hard for me to like not think about that while I'm watching the show, which is unfortunate, but it's real good. And I'm sitting here like, wow, like, it's so funny because I'm sitting here like, I definitely want to watch this, like, as soon as it comes out, like whenever the next episode comes out, like I want to see the next episode. But at the same time, I'm just like, that's weird. Like, I feel like I saw, like, I think maybe, and it's probably like some promotional stuff Like I feel like I saw that Cosmic Monk before. I just don't know where. And it might even been on like TikTok or something. You know, like as an ad or something like that, because
No, it was
that's
me
how
just smoking the first time I ever smoked weed.
it wasn't the kid version, it was the OG monk version.
That guy looks so
I love
cool.
how he just took off.
Yeah.
The powers. He's like, all right, I got to go that way now.
Yeah. No, dude.
And I feel like that's going to come into play later. Like
100%.
Like that's like he's already fighting the final battle where he like assists him fully. Like he reaches his potential or some shit. But I love that design of that monk and how he fought and everything. Even I love the kid version, but I love that design too.
Yeah.
Like it was so cool.
And it's like so perfectly encapsulates what it's supposed to. Like where you're like if you didn't tell me that was a cosmic monk, I feel like you're like, what is this? And I would be like, oh, that's a cosmic monk.
Yeah.
You know, like it 100% feels and looks exactly like what it's supposed to be. And that's so cool.
And his name's Alfie, not Dee.
Oh, that's what it is. Yeah.
Okay. Alfie. All right, cool. All right. So let's high praise for Fantastic Forum for Unicorn Warriors Eternal. Let's go on to COVID Cop.
Yeah. Let me do this. Comic
sounds good.
Sorry. My computer I had to restart everything. So
no, listen, you're good, Mo. The people know.
I should have had it ready. I should have had it ready. I said I should have had it ready.
Woo! Comic book
review.
Comic book
like review.
Well, not like that, but like.
I love it. I love it. All right, Moses.
Yeah.
You brought us COVID Cop. Why don't you tell the people what it is?
COVID Cop was a Kickstarter that I did on Chronic, and but I didn't do a lot of the perks, so I didn't like get a bunch of stuff. I know he did some sketches that he gave out. Dean Haspiel, that is the creator, and I'm like, you know what? I just want to do the comic and the digital version, like because it comes with a digital version when you buy the comics. I did the small tier, like $5, $6, $7 or something, and it finally came out. This wasn't during COVID. This is more recent, and it's just something he did during COVID to like kind of work out the way the world was. I mean, it feels like forever now, but the world was very chaotic. It was a clash of a plague of ideologies and a plague of actual biological things trying to hurt you. And it's like the ideology spread faster than the disease and really like fucked everything up. Like I felt like it halted progress for the next 50 years myself, but on anything. And we're starting to see it now with the way the economic system's working and everything. But this isn't a review of that. This isn't a review of reality. We review comics here, so we don't have to. So
there it is. Amen.
But this it's hard to do that when you read this comic because it's very like a dirty mirror to society in that time, and it's really about this COVID cop trying to really like have save his marriage if he can't save his the world. And I feel during the 2020 time, Dean Haspiel actually, like, I believe he got married to Whitney Matheson, who we interviewed on the show before. She was like the pop culture reporter for USA Today. They got married. I don't know if they got married before that or around that time, or it was fairly new. So that's how I became Facebook friends with him, because I was Facebook friends with her. And then I'm like, oh, I love this guy. Like, I love his comics, his work he's done for Vertigo. Like, The Alcoholic is one of my favorite comics, and it's written by Jonathan Ames, HBO's like Bored to Death, and which is
Mm-hmm.
an amazing show.
Mm-hmm.
And then he did the Amazing Ray, the Zach Galifianakis like superhero book. And so Dean Haspiel worked on that, and yeah, so he does a lot of stuff that I've always been aware of, and now he's like, do something creator owned because of this COVID shit, and I'm like, let me take my money, sir. Yeah. So and that's why I chose to, and I finally it came in the mail, I want to say about 2 weeks ago. So I'm like, hey, we're looking for stuff to review. Let's do that. I didn't get perks to do a vlog of it, or an unboxing of it. So let's just do it here. Yeah.
So what do you think of the book itself, COVID Cop?
It was definitely like a hodgepodge of like what our brains were. They're like, it's like kind of chaotic, kind of fearful, kind of angry, and the everything. The first few 4, 5, 6 pages kind of go through that, and then it starts kind of find its footing, and it kind of like feels like what it was that time was for us and for me in particular. So it's more about what's really important in life, in a sense, and really that gave me the focus. And it's like, no matter what happens, like we gotta get out of this. So it's just one issue, and so the story itself, like it definitely feels like it's done in that time where it's so chaotic, and in terms of like comic format and storytelling, it would feel like something you wouldn't rate highly in certain parts, but it is like from an expressive art form way. It's like, yeah, this is a expressionist comic storytelling, and you see it in the color scheme. Like you can kind of see it here to me, where you got that like different shades of purple against the dark blue of the uniform, and the comic art inside does that. And I'm so happy I got the physical copy as well as the digital. The digital is really high quality, so the colors really pop. But then holding those pages in the way that he chose to have it printed in person, the colors really pop there too. Like I just from the colors perspective, I feel like I want to frame several of these pages. And they're not, his art style isn't like the traditional stereotypical like superhero art, but the way like this is this is kind of like a class in how to make comics, cartooning. Like he does it, he hits every mark that I feel like I'm not getting in these superhero books that I try to read right now. Like it's like, keep it, I heard Pitbull say it, kiss, keep it simple, stupid. And that's how this is. It's like he keeps the art is simple in the sense that his art style is not super hyper realistic or detailed, but when you add the colors and inks on it, it just gives it the dimension. Like, so he's like, he keeps his pencils simple and he does the art and color. I think he did that all himself too.
But I'm pretty sure he did.
And it really just makes the pop. Like the way the colors like clash with each other and complement each other at the same time really adds almost like a 3D effect. You can see it from the cover, and you can see it from like, let's see. Oh no, I can't do it right. But, you can see it from the cover, and you can see it from the interior art. If you do it, I didn't pull any art because I was sleepy and I took a nap. But
I can pull some. I think maybe.
But it's just really good. Like again, execution. The story is a little more unique, but it's I'm sure that it's been told before, but the execution of it really, like, I love the colors of this book. Like just the title, like everything feels like it would be part of my Starburst pack of candy. Yeah.
That's too funny.
Or like my now laters,
Right. Yeah. So, it's interesting because I'm familiar with Dean Haspel's work. Most of it mostly on the superhero side of things.
Yeah.
Which I mean, he's worked for. I mean, I think if I'm not mistaken, I think he's worked for like all the major, like all the major publishers. Um, of course, because just me being me, like the series that I know him most for is he did like a Cyclops mini, so like he did the art on that, and so I'm familiar with his work. So when you were like, okay, let's do COVID Cop, I was like, okay, like I don't know what that's gonna be, but I'm interested just to kind of see what it's like. And I agree with you 100%, Mo, in the sense that it definitely feels like, okay, these are ideas that came during the beginning of the pandemic. Like it does a good job, I think, of channeling that feeling onto the page. Um, I know for myself, story wise, I was kind of like, okay, where are we gonna go with this? And I guess I kind of feel like where you were going, where you're like, it does kind of come together, and it does, like it comes into a narrative, or more of a narrative, I guess I should say, than where it starts. At the same time, though, I'm just kind of like, it didn't hit for me, but 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 at the same time, though, it's like it went to show, like it definitely goes to Dean Haspel's creativity, because there are things in it where it's just like, okay, like one of the examples that comes to mind is Santa is in the joint. and there's a point where Santa has on his mask, and his mask, on the mask, it says nice. And then when Santa decides to take off his mask, on the inside of the mask it says naughty. And it's just like one of those things where it's like, that's kind of creative, because it's like there's a little bit of a commentary there, in relation to, or as it relates to Santa, as well as the pandemic. And it's just like, okay, but at the same time, it's like, while I can appreciate those moments for what they are, at the end of the day, I think from a narrative perspective, I just kind of like, yeah, this just feels kind of very stream of consciousness to me, and which I don't mind sometimes, but in this particular instance, I wasn't. It didn't do it for me.
And I think that's partly why it just came out the way it did in Kickstarter, and it's just something he had that he essentially wrote for himself. It's catharsis, and he's like, well, let's see who else can enjoy this, or I may look, I gotta pay my bills. Let me put something out there that I can make some quick. In 30 days, I could get some money. Which I don't mind that at all.
No,
but it is definitely not. It's not a comic book like for mass consumption.
No, it's for the fans of his that see the premise and are like, and want to support him, and they do. And which is what you did. Like he even says in the book, a Dean Haspel deep cut. Which I'm like, you can't be mad at that. You know what I'm saying? It's like the same way how a music artist might be like, I mean, what used to be a B-side back in the day, where you're just like, hey, like, this isn't the song that's for the radio.
Yeah.
This is for the people that are like,
that buy it,
that rock with me, that rock with me, and I want to be on my journey with me. And they can be like, oh yeah, actually he made, they made this joint. And so it's like, yeah, so I get it. Jay, what do you think of COVID Cop?
It's not really my thing. For me, it's from a headspace that I don't want to be in. Which, he was doing this when COVID started, and I definitely don't want to return to there. Just because there was a lot of shit going on that I don't necessarily want to stay in, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
perfect sense.
But yeah, so it just wasn't really for me, and it does have like a fast pace to where I wasn't quite sure what was going on. But again, I think that's more in my headspace too, not trying too hard. But I do recognize that it is a story that he drew and wrote.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you were saying something earlier about a stream of consciousness. And that reminded me of another cop, ex-cop.
Mm.
And that's a very stream of conscious kind of rambly thing. This made more sense than ex-cop.
Right.
So, yeah, this made more sense than ex-cop. I think ex-cop is a little more enjoyable just because it's a little more just bad guys dying because they're bad guys.
Yeah.
Which is weird because I didn't like ex-cop like at all, and I don't like dislike this. Really,
well, they're doing the ex-cop special, the ex-cop versus Rodney King.
I only watched the cartoon, and that was only for like a couple episodes because it was just too effing random for me. But yeah, COVID cop. You know, I haven't said this before, but I actually don't like looking at COVID. It's like
the word
wasn't to me.
Like the word, or you
the disease, like what COVID looks like. You know, because they keep showing us, or back, especially back then, they kept showing us pictures of it. It's like I don't need to see. Like, there's a reason I didn't go into medical science.
Right.
And so a whole book of a cop shaped like COVID.
Right.
I'm like, I don't know this. But and it's not like a gross thing. It's just aesthetically unpleasing.
Yeah. Which it's disease should be unpleasing.
Yeah, this book just hit all the wrong cylinders for me. I apologize. I wanted to like it just because I know.
You don't have to apologize.
Like I figured you guys were gonna get a kick out of it.
No,
and I was like, I don't want to hate this book. Like,
well, it's the thing is it's really his working out. It's catharsis, and it's a very personal journey. So it's not like, it's not for. It's really just for him, and he chose to share it with us, and I chose to pay for it. And it's like I can appreciate what I don't like about it, because even some of the dialogue isn't like where it needs to be, and editorial wise. And I'm like, but I'm not going to harp on it.
Like noir, but at a breakneck pace.
Yeah, the bubbles were in places they shouldn't have been sometimes. So I'm not going to harp on that, because it's more of like I'm watching the art form be art right now. I'm not trying to see. This isn't them trying to sell me. This isn't a big company trying to sell me an event, featuring characters that I don't care for, but making me think I do, So this is just I know who he is, and I want him to pay his bills, so I'll buy it, whatever it is, So I can appreciate it. Like it's not a comic. Like if somebody wants to get into comics, I'm like, oh, I read COVID Cop. That's not what I'm gonna do. Like you want to appreciate artists and the work that they do that isn't mainstream. Like check this out. But it's like Yoko Ono's albums. Like, you know, it's like, you know, some people appreciate it because it's her. Like, she's literally, the love of her life was killed. And he was a musician, and she would make music with him, and now she makes music by herself. You know, she's just catharting everything through sound. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's a good analogy. I'm sorry. I was just thinking about that for a second. But yeah. I don't. Yeah, but you definitely shouldn't apologize, Jay, because you should feel how you want to feel about whatever book comes across the review.
We're journalists here.
Oh, I don't know if I'm gonna say that, but but we're definitely giving opinions, and what opinions everyone else has should not affect yours. So, you know, don't ever apologize for disliking something. No matter who makes it. Look, if it's me, you can dislike it, Jay. You gotta give me constructive criticism though. Don't mess around and be like,
just don't dislike me as a person.
Right.
He's like,
yeah. Yeah. So it's a wild thing because, I mean, I do feel where you're coming from, Jay, in the sense that everybody like kind of looking like some form of COVID is weird, and you know it is not aesthetically pleasing. But I think Mo's right; it's not supposed to be. So you know, but yeah, I definitely feel where you're coming from. Where it's like, you know, like you definitely got to be in a particular frame of mind to take it all in.
Right.
Even like, you know, you have like the monster thing in this book that comes at later, which I'm not 100% sure what it's all supposed. Well, I mean, I know that it's like kind of like a manifestation of like, I guess, the worst parts of us. You know, it's kind of like a culmination, but you know, it comes and it just comes out and yells like MAGA. And I know for me, I was just like, I don't know, it feels a little over the top. Like, like, you know, where I'm just like, and I get it. Like, especially like, again, if that's like happening in the time, I get why you would feel that, you know, but at the same time, especially, you know, where we're at right now, it's just kind of like, oh, Jesus, man. Like, you know, like, yeah, I don't know. I guess it's just too much. And it's just like, you know, I'm not like, but there's no part of me that is happy with what's happening in that space in the real world, you know, when you're talking about the MAGA folks. At the same time, it's just like, you know, characterizing them literally as a monster. It's just like, I don't know. I don't feel like it's gonna help us. You know, it's not to say that like I would love a critique on that has some sort of nuance to it, and you know, might be able to make some people like take a moment to like reflect. And obviously, like, this is kind of almost the opposite of that, right? But it's of the moment, so it's just kind of like, I can't be mad at the dude for feeling how he feels. But I just know, again, I was reading this and I'm just like, oh, and you know, like I could totally see on a friggin' slow news day somebody at Fox pitching like, hey, did you see this Dean Haskell? Look, and
I would love that.
I don't
Like,
know, man. It's like one of those things where again, it's just like somebody's gonna mess around and try to juxtapose this book
yeah,
against, like the whole what's the name of that book again with the guy? Oh, Holy Terror. And be
yeah.
like, look how much better we make comics than they do. The damn libs. And it's ugh.
Like I don't like. I actually didn't mind that characterization that way because it's look. A lot of it is the moron contingent, man. That like the swing vote is the moron contingent, and everybody's trying to appeal to them. And it's sometimes you got to let the morons know they're morons. And it's not everybody on the right's a moron. It's just that 8% that'll put us over and get books banned and get, and blow up Bud Light cans, like it's a moron contingent. That's the swing vote right now. Like that's really what's going to win elections. So, you either piss them off or you kowtow to them. Yeah.
I don't know, man. I mean, I hear what you're saying, and I don't know if you're wrong necessarily, but at the same time,
I'm not wrong. I'm not right
I'm not
either.
sure. Yeah, exactly. So I don't know if you're right either. So
yeah, but it's coming to look, Biden only won by a small margin, and he stole the election.
You're so dumb. You're so dumb. He's in a small margin and he stole the election. That's too funny. That is fun. See, that's the kind of nuance we need.
Yeah. I'm telling you, I can edit some of these comics just that deal with the stupidity of society.
Right.
That's the only thing I'm good at dealing with is the stupidity. And I'm not that good at it. Ask Emily, she's got a black eye.
Oh, boo, don't say that. Oh,
it's nuance, Larry. It's nuance.
No, that's not nuance. That's not nuance. Sure you. Let's go ahead and rate COVID Cop. Let's start with you, Jay. What would you rate COVID Cop?
Pardon me. I would give it a 1. It's just not my thing. I do appreciate it for him, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm glad he enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't. Yeah, I just didn't enjoy it.
Look, I love that, Jay. Like that summary right there is like, I'm glad he enjoyed it. I just didn't enjoy it. like that's so real. I love it. All right, Mose Magnum. What would you rate COVID Cop?
I would give it a 4, and but it is that like I'm watching somebody work out the thought process in a comic book format, and but the art, I really love the art, and so the art really like it's a beautiful work. I love the colors, like the color theory
are fantastic.
This palette, like I'm literally stealing it. Like this our thumbnail. I've been struggling with color theory myself because I'm not good at it. But these thumbnails, I've just done the black like grayscale background just to like cut my workflow by a third. So but I think I'm that palette of the comic and started using that as the background. So yeah.
I will say that.
So sorry.
You said a 4?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was gonna say that was a part of your review that I was like, man, like, I read the digital version, and when you talked to, but in the digital version, I definitely was like, yeah, the colors are very striking, and the palette, the contrast with the background with the characters and whatnot is actually really good. And the way that it chooses, like when it chooses to use colors, is really interesting. But I do like when you mentioned that, you got the physical copy and you're glad you did. I'm like, damn, I want to see the physical copy, because I'm sure that it is striking. So,
Yeah, you get to appreciate the colors a little more. Like, I know, like we have these high def screens. Like I think technically my iPad is 8K, so it looks great in it. You know, it's a high resolution file and everything. But the physical, this is where, like, I'm like, yeah, I'm glad I got the physical. Like, just look, that's how he intended it to be looked at. You know.
Yeah. For me, I think I got to give COVID Cop 2.5. There's some parts of it I can appreciate. The other parts of it that just don't hit with me. So, yeah, and I mean, there could be some parts of it that I'm just not getting. I could see that, like because it's not like I'm not somebody that's like above the idea that there's something that commentary that could be being put forth here that I'm just not necessarily getting. At the same time, I'm just like, yeah, I'm not a dummy either though. So it's like, yeah. So it's just not doing it for me. Some of it is maybe just subject matter as well, where it's just like, yeah. So, but I'm gonna give it 2.5. Yeah, the end. All right. Y'all ready to move on to Kroma?
Still got more stuff to talk about.
We do. I know. Yeah. We're the gift that keeps on giving, Mo.
How you feeling? The pills kicked in yet?
Oh, I haven't taken them. I'm gonna do them after the show.
Oh, good.
Look, now's the time, Jay. You can take it right now, goddamn. Take it right now. It's like, just so you all know, we are definitely talking about Jay taking Percocets. So
he calls them hard candy.
He calls it hard candy. He calls it his lozenge. Take your lozenge, baby. No, I'm joking. I'm just fun. I'm sitting here thinking like there's like a portion of the audience like, what is a lozenge? Lozenge? What is that? And they're out here. Siri, what is a lozenge? No. Okay. So Kroma. Yeah. Kroma is a comic. It is 100%, just so everybody knows. Hence why we didn't play another intro, right? Because we're going from comic to comic. There it is. But damn, what is it's written and the art is by Lorenzo. Is it De Felici?
Yeah.
Okay. Bam, baby.
It translates to Happy Larry.
Does it really?
Yeah.
Hey, I'll take it. Lorenzo De Felici.
That's why I thought you would like would get it.
And so, and Kroma is basically a book that is about a society that lives in a walled world devoid of color. Color is seen as dangerous and seen as like not only dangerous but like blasphemous, realistically, to the point where the society preaches against color, and everybody that lives within this walled city covers anything that does have color in this white chalk. So they preach against color and basically say that if you allow color into your life, not only will it corrupt you, but you'll be devoured by beasts from outside of the walls. Um, and to the point where for generations and anything that has too much color is destroyed or killed, including people. Um, so everything is basically black and white, which is wild because the way they talked about it was like, okay, like, hey, like people that have, say, colorful eyes, done, colorful hair, done. But it was interesting though, because one thing I did notice, or at least I know for me, and this is, I guess, my own uh point of view here, was I was like, okay, well, I would think then that there would be like black people then, but there were no black people. or at least if they are there, I guess maybe they're covered in white chalk. Which I'm just like, I would think that would be unnecessary, but I guess technically black people aren't black, right? They're brown,
They're brown,
which
yeah.
I guess counts as a color.
Depends on the black person, because some of them could be that
Right.
caramel.
Yeah. Like I don't know. Like it's interesting because I'm just like, I didn't notice any characters with brown or with like uh African or African American kind of features.
Mm.
But, needless to say,
what features might those be, Larry? I have no idea what you mean by
exactly. But with that said, it's like the book itself, from an artistic perspective, does some striking things with color, as you can see here on the screen, because their world is literally in black and white, and so anytime there's something of color that comes inside the walls, it sticks out like a sore thumb. And so, yeah, it's a well, I'll say this. While I feel like, especially when you're talking about comics, the idea of color playing into the narrative of things is not a novel concept. Like in comics, people use color. Like even in the book we just reviewed, we talked about the color palettes and how things are working. And in this book, the concept of color striking out against striking out against the plain background or a white background is not something new to the world of comics. You have whole comic books dedicated to that, like things like
Sonya Red.
Carnage, huh?
Sonya Red. What? It's red, white, and black or something.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I was gonna. But that way, not when you say Sonya, you're not. Are you talking about
Red
talking
Sonya.
about
black, white?
Did they do a black, white, and red Sonya?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. See, I was actually gonna talk about Elektra, because that is what they did do, like Elektra. Black,
they did
white, and red.
A Grendel one too.
Right. So, like this is something that's happened multiple times in comics, but I believe this might be among the first times where
even the whatchamacallit, what's the Coldplay album, they had a companion comic that went with it.
Okay.
And it dealt with that too, more from a graffiti standpoint, but it was like certain colors, so not just black and white color, but it still dealt with the same concept.
Right. But I feel like Kroma here might be one of the first books where that contrast is actually like not just an artistic or symbolic kind of thing, but actually like a plot point where like the world they live in is intentionally made black and white. And so when the color comes in, it's like, this is not just an artistic thing. This is like an actual, like they've made it a specific choice to live away. And so at least that is the first book I've read like this, definitely. So I was like, oh, that's different. You know, that's like taking a concept and kind of taking it one step further, where you're like, you know, because like the book actually has a part of the plot where people leave the walled city to go get the chalk that they use to make everything white. You know, and I'm just like literally like to go and import the chalk that they crush up to cover the things that are colored. And I'm like, wow, like that's, you know, that's really wild, because up until a certain point in the book, you know, you could just be like, oh, okay, like this is like every other book where this is just an artistic choice. But it's like, no, this isn't an artistic choice. Like the characters in this book make everything look like this for a reason. And it's like, oh, okay.
I think they did that in Rainbow Bright too.
Nah, man. Rainbow Bright never did this. No, I'm joking. I don't know. Really, like in the Rainbow Bright, like a movie, or in like the.
I think in the cartoon they did that.
There's a world where they make everything black and white.
Isn't Pleasantville that too?
No. Pleasantville is like an artist. Well, I mean, it's an actual thing in Pleasantville, but it's like attached to like emotion.
Right.
Like
what
people,
like
people like they don't make the world black and white. When they start feeling a particular way, they turn to color.
Right, but it's still using the color as well, like you said, symbolically, not
right,
not logistically.
Yeah, exactly. And that's, so, you know, and don't get me wrong, I think I feel where you're coming from, because it is more of a plot point in a Pleasantville.
Yeah.
Where it's not like, you know, but it's not like, I guess what I'm trying to say about Kroma is the people there are making a physical decision to live absent of color. And in Pleasantville, yeah, that's not what, that's a little bit different. It is kind of a bit more symbolic, you know, and they're like, oh, I feel this way now, so I'm colored now.
More.
I'm a colored boy.
No!
It's like, damn it, Toby, you racist son of a bitch.
Your name's Toby. Your name's Toby.
He's like, Peter.
Yeah. Damn it, I lost my train of thought now.
I'm sorry,
but
I didn't mean to bring the overt racism into it.
It was worth it.
I will say, this comic is beautiful. I love it. I love looking at it.
Yeah.
Everything is, and it's more than just the colors. Like the colors, yes, amazing, striking, but just like the art, the characters, like everything is gorgeous. Even these muted colors are amazing, and it really does highlight when there is color. Kroma, she has like the white face, but her eyes, she has heterochromia, and it's just beautiful to look at. And this whole book is like that. The people, the monsters, the world is just. This guy's an amazing artist for 4 issues. Like, there's not one panel where I'm like, oh, he didn't do his best. Like, no. Like, this entire book is beautiful, and the colors are amazing.
The way they utilize the grayscale and colors is like, it's not just creative and beautiful, like you say, but it's also efficient. Because there's they're talking about the moonlight. Like, oh, let's see, no candle today, and it's a white candle with a white flame because they don't want that warm color. And it's like, we're gonna do moonlight, and then the moonlight hits blue because it's a colder light, and it's like the color there. It's like, man, they don't hate the moon. These fucking ignorant fucks don't hate the moon. Like the moon casts a blue light, you know. But that's probably something that's going to come into play later, or you know, something they might not even talk about. But it just shows like the ideology, the battle of ideologies too, like how somebody in charge can really control people, you know. A dumb idea, but yeah, it's the use of colors and how they choose to use it, and the absence of color is very like efficient. So not only is it's really efficient, and the art style, it really flows really well too, to the point where, like, I mean, I didn't sleep last night. I was fucking tired, and I've been busy, and I couldn't, like, I kept dozing off while I was reading, and I'm like, you know what? Let me just look at this art, and I could get the sense of the story to the point where I got to a certain place where I could read it. I got energized. I went back, and I'm like, oh yeah, I didn't really miss that much by just looking at the art. And it is somewhat dialogue heavy, but it's not like the art flows so well from panel to panel that you can kind of see what it is, either through expression of the face or action, or you know. And then what, Larry, you fucked up by not reading issue 2, because once you get to the last page of issue 2, it's like, what the fuck? Like the way first issue ended, I was like, fuck, I gotta read the next one. I got all 4. So I'm like, I gotta let me hurry up and finish these. But I couldn't finish them before the show. But I definitely, I'm like, I gotta read at least issue 2 to really like give a good review.
Yeah,
you know? A more informed review. You know.
Yeah.
And if you couldn't grasp it from what we've said so far, there's the major theme of the book is fanaticism, or it's about like fanaticism and asking questions, why you should ask questions, and you know, not being a slave to tradition, and standing up for basically asking questions,
like tradition versus justice, in a sense, you know, like what's right and what's traditional, you know.
And I absolutely adore the ending. I don't want to spoil it for you guys.
Is it only 4 issues?
Yeah.
Oh man. Okay.
Oh wow.
Done. Yeah.
Damn.
So you really fucked up, Larry.
Yeah, I didn't realize it was only 4 issues. I thought it was
technically, because we did have like 3 weeks to read this. So.
I did mention that, but I guess you forgot.
I did. I'm sorry, Jay. My bad.
It's all right.
It's not.
If you're enjoying it, you should keep reading. But
yeah,
I love the ending. Like, I really want to talk about it, but I really don't want to take that away from anyone. It might have just hit me like harder, but like, so I don't know if you guys are gonna feel the same way about it, but I'll just say, I really enjoyed the resolution to this story where she kind of breaks everything down and leaves them with the foundation to rebuild. And there's something she says at the end where I'm like, yeah, that's fucking it. Like, man, love this book.
I will say that you know, this and I feel like this is something we've said a couple times as of late, but again, it's like when we talk about writer artists, you know, usually you can tell which one the person started it with first. You know, like there's usually like a weaker side of the writer artist kind of deal. And Kroma, so far at least for me, has been a thing where I'm like, this is a super solid narrative. It's a great story. It has some good, like real good dialogue. And then, Jay summed it up in regards to the art. It's like the art's phenomenal. It's like and not only is it phenomenal art, but it's ridiculously consistent, and it does, like, from panel to panel, from a storytelling perspective, it's kind of crazy. There's one panel that stuck out for me, was one of the initial meetings of the um, I guess what you would call the antagonist. I mean, sorry, the protagonist from the first issue, Zet, I believe his name was. I think it's Zet. When the first meeting with Kroma, and there's a panel where he's like looking into her face for the first time, and he's asking her questions, and she says something about, oh no, like, I'm a monster, and the way that her face kind of deforms, like when she says it, kind of like gives you the impression that she might actually be a little bit of a monster. And I'm just like, wow, like that is some really cool visual storytelling, which kind of speaks to what Mo was talking about, where it's like, yeah, like if these word bubbles weren't filled in, the story would still get told visually, which is what comics is supposed to be. Like, like you're supposed to be able to take the pictures and kind of get a gist of what's happening. It's not to say the words don't matter, because
even back in the day, there was like the script, but then there was like the dialogue writer, and then the artist. The artist would just work on the script and figure out, like, the dialogue would be filled in just on based on what the artist did, like,
right. Yeah, I know, like Marvel kind of did a lot of that.
Yeah, and they would just fill it in depending on how the artist drew it. Yeah. But the artist knew the story maybe first before the actual dialogue writer, That's the part that takes the longer part of the process.
Yeah. So it's a good book, man. And I mean, which I guess if you've been listening to the review up until this point, you probably realize that that's what we're saying. So I guess we should rate it. I guess that's where we're at. Unless who else? Anybody got anything else they want to say about it before we do that?
I think
okay. Reiterate how striking and beautiful it is.
I regret not reading all of it.
Yeah, me too. That's my bad, Jay. I apologize.
You guys get a part 2 to this review when we come back.
Right, like probably right, exactly right. On next show, we're just like, damn, we finished Kroma. No, like, Jay, why don't you go ahead and give Kroma a rating?
I would give it a 5. This book is flawless.
Damn.
It's beautiful. The colors are amazing. The story is great. The characters are awesome. Yeah, I cannot say enough good things about this book. I love it.
When was the last time you heard Jay say something was flawless?
Well, we don't talk about our escapades.
Exactly. All right. Most Magnum, what would you rate Kroma?
Yeah, easily. Like, I would say 5, but I feel like I need to do 4. But only because I haven't finished it. Like, that's the only thing wrong with it, is I haven't finished it, and that's not its fault. It's my fucking fault. But it's a 5. I wanted to leave something for when we actually finish it, but fuck it, it's a 5.
Yeah. I'm right there with the rest of the crew. It's a 5. Like, the book is fantastic. Like, it's crazy because, like, and here's the thing too, man. Like, the ending of issue 1, which Mo already talked about, like the ending of issue 1 is one of those joints where you're like, okay, like when we talk about comics and the job that issue 1 is supposed to do, is supposed to sell you issue 2, and sure enough, I was just like damn it, like damn it, like okay. I need to know what happens next. and that's what Kroma does.
Look, we don't even want to tell you what happens because that's like I literally, if I tell you, I feel like I'm depriving you of that experience, and I usually don't give a fuck about that. But that's with this book, I actually do. I want everybody
to care.
Yeah.
Yep.
Ask Nia's mom. She's like, "Hey man, tell him not to tell
it." Exactly.
Tell him to chill out. Man. Like we don't all have that time.
Right. So cool. All right, listen, it's time for us to get out of here. Like time flies, man. Yeah. Jay, can we get a final thought from you before you friggin' pretend like you don't know us?
Yeah.
Oh wait, hold on, but we're gonna play some music though. Can you wait 2 seconds for the music, or are you gonna go? Don't go, Joe.
No, I'm here.
Oh yay, Jay's here. All right. Final thoughts. Yeah. Jay. Final thoughts. Okay. Jay, final thoughts.
I know it's a couple years old at this point, but I just started watching Lovecraft Country.
No, you son of a bitch.
And dude, it's so good.
No, man, you can't like it anymore.
Like,
it's too late.
I'm a little upset at you guys.
Like, how dare you? How dare you?
You really should have told me to stop what I'm doing and go watch it. Like, you didn't say that. You said to go watch it. It's good. Like, you should have told me right then and there to stop whatever you're doing and go watch it.
I think I actually did tell you that, except we were on the show. So it's like, don't stop doing the show, but after, and then you didn't do it.
I literally had a whole conversation with Jay, like, listen, this dude's amazing. Go watch it before he gets accused of raping some chick. I told him all that. And he was just like, whatever, man. He's like, that's not even going to be popular enough to be accused of rape. And I was like, okay. We had that whole conversation, and Jay just ignored me.
Dude, it was so funny because I haven't been following his story. Like, I haven't been following what's happening with him because I kind of don't care. Like, it's Hollywood shit. Like, but I started watching this, like, oh shit, I give a fuck about what he did now. Like, oh man, like, this is really good. Like, can he do a second season if they have it? Like, can he come back?
I mean, Lovecraft. We're not gonna get a second. Listen, Lovecraft Country is one. They just already pulled the plug on that. But I mean, have you finished the whole thing or no?
No, I just started. I'm on episode 3.
Oh, okay. So listen,
man, like, you're missing a lot. There's some good shit that, like, if you love it now. Yeah, man, I'm so jealous you're experiencing it for the first time.
Yeah, no, listen, you're gonna find out very quickly that show's way too black to have a second season.
Yeah, they literally like put a weird pic in that show's cab to make sure it doesn't come back in the actual show. Like they did it for the actual show. Like they don't want it to be successful because it's too it's crazy and it's real. Like, but it's still so like good. Sci-fi. Like it's sci-fi unlike what you're ever gonna get, which is almost like what Lovecraft was doing at the time, and they're taking that and building a almost like a successful black sci-fi show. And it's like HBO Max is like, you can't have that. More Fuckboy Island.
More Fuckboy Island.
Those twins that fuck each other and sell houses.
There it is. And like, it's so good though. I'm glad you're gonna get to finally check it out. Moses Magnum, final thoughts.
Yeah, go watch Lovecraft Country.
There it is.
Like, yeah, on Max.
On Max.
Yeah, that's such a bad name. Like, why did they do that?
I'm just happy it's not purple anymore.
It's not.
It's not. What color is it now?
It's like dark blue, like HBO Go was before. So
I love that you all care about what color it is.
Oh, dude,
Purple.
I got used to it, but I hated it. It's too effeminate. Like I don't want to pay $14.99 for that.
Listen,
like it looks cheap. The purple looks cheap.
Purple, expensive. Just so you know, it's historic.
And here's the thing: those colors you see, those colors you see here are literally what it changed to. The contrast from the back to what it is now. Like that's the color scheme of HBO Max was that purple lavender in the back, and the uniform is what it is now.
There it is. COVID cop called it.
COVID cop called it. Bring it up for you.
Yes. All right, folks. For the entire Fantastic Forum, thank you all for hanging out with us, and for the entire really, Bo? Oh, Tina Turner passed away. Jesus. Man.
Yeah, that did happen today. That was sad.
Yeah. For the entire Fantastic Forum, go watch Lovecraft Country because it is awesome. We're like. In the meantime, let us know what you think of the show. Let us know what you like, what you don't like, what you like us to talk about next. Because we'll listen to you. So yeah. For the entire Fantastic Forum, have a good night. We'll see you soon.